Mr. DJ, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good.
It's good to finally sit across the table from you.
I know it's been a long time, so I mean, you know, you're back from Ghana as well. How's that trip?
No, Ghana was good, man.
Yeah.
Ghana was good. We had a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, we went all over the place, mainly in Accra, Cape Coast. So it was a lot of to and fro between there. Went to a place called Wedger, where my dad's building. My mum and dad are building their house. So
nice.
That was nice to kind of see what's going on over there, because they got big shopping mall, West Hills, out in that area there. So it was nice to see shopping malls. I mean, things like that, which we take for granted here, but over there, you know what I mean? It was good. I can't complain. I'll just say I don't like the roads. You know what I mean?
I don't think anyone likes the roads, to be fair. I think it's weird because the government always says they're working on roads for the past 20 years now, but the roads are never ever, they're never ever completed.
Nah, they're not working on the roads.
But yeah, man, I mean, maybe one day they'll work on the roads.
One day they'll get there, you know what I mean? I just know once you get off the main road, pray for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. It's a drive. I went to obviously recently as well, and the standard of driving there it's not safe.
It's shocking.
To be honest,
it's
crazy. But yeah, I mean, as you said, we're back again with another edition of Views from the East End, guys.
Yeah, views.
And I think now we've decided to do a workplace series.
Yeah, workplace series. Yeah, I mean,
we'll be focusing on issues in the workplace, also touching upon our personal experiences. Also,
of course. I would say lift your mic up a bit because,
sweet, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think higher up would be better.
That's all I am as well.
Yeah, we might need to get you a special stand or something. You know what I mean?
All right, sweet. So yeah, workplace series. So talking about our personal experiences at work.
Yeah.
Different aspects of the workplace as well. And guys, if you've got your own experiences, feel free to drop them in the comment section on YouTube.
100%. You know what I mean?
And if there's anything you want to talk about as well, just send us a quick message, and we're happy to touch upon
talk about it, man. 100%.
So yeah, I think being in a workplace, there's so many things that take place. It's not just the work you're doing. It's not just the people that you work with as well. But there's different processes along the way that everyone goes through.
Yeah.
And I think the first episode is talking about interview process.
Yeah, interviews.
So,
I mean,
before you go into a job, you have an interview process. Some of them might be different. I mean, some of them have tests, don't they? Tests prior to you actually going into the face-to-face interview.
That's right.
To see what your skill set is at that present time. I mean, how was your interview process?
Yeah, I mean,
your first ever interview process?
ever interview was straight out of university.
Okay.
Or I wouldn't even say straight out, because I did a sandwich year. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
that's when you do 2 years and then
2 years, then you go on placement, and then you come back and finish up. You know what I mean? But it was for the 2012 Olympics. You know what I mean? So I was going to be a first line support analyst for IT.
Okay.
What was crazy about it was that it was like a whole day, but it was a 3-stage interview process. So you had to do an interview, presentation, and then group work.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
And so it was tough and challenging, because what was funny about it is that I'm like a student, you know what I mean? So I thought maybe I was going to be going up against other students or whatever. Now you're going up against, people which want to work there as well. I was like, oh crap, you know what I mean? Like, I'm competing against, seasoned professionals. I don't have much experience, you know what I mean? So it was interesting just to you have to kind of switch on that kind of game mode. I need to get this kind of mindset. So first stage, you do the one-on-one interview. Of course, they ask you questions about yourself, your experience. I don't have much to say besides what I've been doing at uni and college and what I do outside of that. And then, they start hitting you with some of the technical questions about the role and things of that type. And then, you're going to have done your research, beforehand.
Yes, research is very key.
100%. You've got to do your research. They ask you about what you know about the Olympics. How did, London or the UK, end up with the Olympics? And you've got to kind of, give them a history breakdown.
It's actually true what you said, because my first ever interview, it wasn't actually after uni. It was prior. So basically in college we had every year we had 2-week work experience spell.
Okay.
And the second year I was at college, we had I think I got placed at Hackney's Learning Trust.
And
prior to that interview I did no research on the company. None. So I just thought, when she asked me what you know about the Learning Trust, I thought she would ask me about myself and maybe what I'm currently doing at college. But she asked me, what do you know about Learning Trust?
Jeez.
And I was like, okay, I know you guys deal with education. I know you deal with different educational bodies around Hackney at different levels.
Yeah.
But I had no sort of
knowledge,
in-depth knowledge
about
Learning Trust, about how long they've been around. I think in terms of also the company itself, maybe apart from general education, nothing more than that. And she said to me as well, look, it's okay this time because you're doing work experience. But what I'd encourage you to do is next time you go to an interview, make sure you've done thorough research, because if you turn up and you know nothing about the business, it just shows that you don't really. Because it's not about you just going to do a job. You're going to. I mean, you can't really give 100% if you don't know about what you're doing.
Of course.
That was sort of my experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everyone just has to, do their best. You're not going to remember everything, but what at least shows is that you've tried, to know about them. And once I figure out who I'm going to be interviewed by, and this is, further down the line I picked up this, is that, you find them on LinkedIn. And look through their experience, so then you can fire back some personal questions or questions targeted to them, because what people tend not to do at the end of interviews is, it works both ways. You want a job, but they need someone to fill a position. So you need to work out, is this the place for me? And the only way you'll know that is by asking them questions.
It's true. I said to people as well, when I got into position of, at one of my recent workplaces, I was also hiring interns. And I always said to people, because obviously you work with them for a certain amount of time and then they move on to different positions. And I always give them feedback and say, listen, when you go to interview, as you just said, it's not just employee interviewing you. It's a chance for you to interview them. Because I think the days are gone where it's about hiring someone who can do the job.
100%.
I think it's about the cultural fit. I think it's sounds good now.
Yes.
All right, so we're back again. Had a little technical
hitch,
but that's part of it, guys. So.
It happens.
Yeah. But I think we were talking about prior to that interview process.
Yes.
And again, I was managing people at a previous company. I managed interns, and I always like to give them feedback because they stay with you for a certain amount of time and they move on. So it's always important to give them some tips. I should say, as to how they can sort of not just become better sort of employees, but making sure that the process for an interview goes smoothly. So again, it's not just an interview where the employer asks you questions and that's it. It's a chance for you to get to know them.
That's right.
It's a chance for you to get to know your position a bit more.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people go into jobs and they're thinking, well, hang on a minute. You didn't really say that in the job description.
This is the thing, and that always catches people out. Because I'm always like, you know what? Companies put a hell of a load of stuff on the job description.
They do.
And when you get there, you'll find out that like 80 to 90% of the stuff they've put there doesn't really exist.
So you turn up and first thing thinking, well, I'm doing Excel stuff.
Yeah.
What's Excel?
Crazy, right?
Do you know what I mean?
You didn't tell me about this.
That's it. So I think it's important, as you said, to have that communication. It's about confidence. It's about going in and actually coming across as if you're interested about the position. You're interested about, what you're going to be doing, or maybe you've got some concerns.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because they want you, before you sort of start a job, they want to make sure that again, then you might have things that might be considered a weakness. The employer wants to know that. There might be things in the business that maybe you might not feel comfortable with.
Yeah, 100%.
But airing that out with your potential employer, that will just help people in the long run.
Yeah, really. In the long run, I definitely don't disagree with that. You know what I mean? Because it works two ways. You know what I mean?
Does.
They're checking you against whoever else has been interviewing, and to be fair, this won't be the only role you're applying for. So you've also got to make sure you feel that you can work in the environment. You can work with 9 times out of 10 the person interviewing you is your line manager, or director, or whatever else. So you got to make sure that relationship there is going to work. You know what I mean?
True.
And
I mean, I
was going to say, I remember one interview I went to, and the guy, at the end of the interview, he was like, man, I've never seen an interview and been turned around, and now I'm the one who's been interviewed.
Oh, really? That should be understandable, because sometimes people say, they always tell people, when you have a list of questions, sometimes it's routine. What do you like about your job? How long have you been there? But they might want you to sort of ask a bit more complex questions.
Of course.
So, as you just said, the guy was surprised by the questions you asked him. So, ask them something about their history or their career so far. If you're in my position, what advice would you give to you?
That's right. Yeah.
Stuff like that. Stuff that can make them think on the spot.
Of course.
Because things like how long have you been here? What do you enjoy? They've probably got answers to that already.
Off the back of their head.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
The person who came in an hour ago has already put those questions to them.
That's it. So it's like a routine for them. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Have you had like any sort of... Because interviews aren't always smooth.
No, I've had a bad one.
Yeah. What's a bad one you had?
I could give you 2 actually, funny enough, right? So I'm like starting out, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if this was before college. No. It must have been just about starting college, right? So I went to apply for McDonald's, right?
Okay.
And I got an interview for McDonald's. my wife is gonna kill me for this. I always tell this story. She's like, why'd you keep talking about it? So I was like, I went there, did the interview and everything, and I didn't get the job. How do you not get a job for McDonald's?
Right.
How incompetent must you be to not get a job for McDonald's? Like, I can speak English and I can fry fries, you know what I mean? Like, I should get the job. They gave it to some other people. Which
why didn't you get the job? Do you know?
Yeah, I never asked. I never asked why. I never asked why I didn't get it. I just thought, you know what? God, this ain't for me, innit?
But the thing is, I mean, when you applied for that job, was there something on the job description that you hadn't had experience with?
I don't even remember, but like, come on, everyone knows how to fry fries and flip a burger. I mean,
they do, but it's like sometimes they will say to you, okay, can you work in a fast-paced environment? Because when it comes to McDonald's, lunchtime, I mean, look, it's always pretty.
Let's be honest, though, innit? Like, at the end of the day, if you're working at McDonald's, that's not like your end goal, is it? You know what I mean?
It's not.
It's usually where you start out and then you build your experience and then you build your career from there. You know what I mean? So some of those things to me is like, most of these guys here are students anyway. You know what I mean? So fast-paced environment, like, nah. The playground, maybe. That's where I got my experience from. So I was like, okay, cool. I didn't get a McDonald's job. You know what I mean? Cool. Then there was another job. This was like, I don't know where it was. It was central London, somewhere, probably near Oxford Circus, somewhere like that. Man, I think I was waiting to be interviewed, but the person who was in there before me, like, and you could see him from a distance. Man, this lady was really going in on this guy, and it's like,
we're going in as in asking questions.
Yeah, like proper spending a lot of time with him, and it's like, man, you're supposed to have ended this, and now you're supposed to be interviewing me. You know what I mean? And I realized, oh man, this guy must be really good because of the amount of time being spent. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what I gauge to be a good interview, bad interview. Like, how long was you in there for, kind of? So then, when it was my turn, man, I got in there. I don't think it was more than 10 minutes, man. I don't think it was more than 10 minutes. It was curtains. I was like, wow, this guy who came in before me must have been everything, boy, because you was not ready to listen to nothing I had to say. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought, damn it.
I mean, how was it like? What's the dialogue like? Was it just sort of question answer, or
it was question answer, and you know, at some point I kind of got demoralized. You know what I mean? Okay. And so then even like the answers, I didn't even have them anymore because now I didn't care anymore. You know what I mean? So it was just like, you know what? Let's just finish this.
Cut it there,
yeah.
But I think sometimes you learn from these things, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%. You know what I mean? Because I was just like, you know, for starters, I shouldn't even have seen. I mean, of course I know you're going to interview other people, but I should never even have seen that someone was there being interviewed, etc., etc. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
so you're kind of comparing yourself to that other person.
That's right. So I'm already benchmarking in my head that, this person took this long. He's an older guy, so he's got more experience. You know what I mean? So all of these things, I'm already kind of putting that in my mind. And then I'm going in there, then, you know, it's like you didn't really kind of care much, you know what I mean? So it's like,
it's
okay.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
It's like for me, I mean, bad interviews, I think I've had two. I wouldn't say they're bad interviews, but I think the interviews that made me think twice about maybe my career or what I want to do. Because after I left university, shortly after, I was studying in database, so SQL, so structured query language. And I believe that was a career that I wanted to get into. It's a good
career though, dude. They make a lot of money.
They make a lot of money, but I didn't think of it. I just thought, okay, I've gone to university for 3 years. That was a heavy part of my course. So I've got some basic knowledge
on
about
all of that
structured query language. So a recruiter at the time felt my skills or my current education was good enough to apply for that role.
Yeah.
So we went in there, I think this was in 2016 actually.
Okay.
Went in there, and the two guys who interviewed me were very, very nice. But what I wasn't expecting was a test on that day. And they said, okay, look, we like you. We think you've got basic knowledge. However, we want to give you a little test to see. Because I think they were in two minds about, because I didn't have any experience at the time of working in an environment that had SQL in it. So they were a bit of like, okay, we like him. We think he could do well, but he hasn't got experience.
Yeah.
So let's test him and see how he does. So I had a whiteboard in the office, and I stood up in front of the whiteboard and had to write codes.
You stood up and your mind sat down.
Literally. So two of them, they sat down and they was like, okay, we're going to do a query of, you know, A, B, and C, or how would you achieve X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
So I had to sort of write the query on a whiteboard. And some of it was okay, but I could just tell. There's one guy in particular, one out of two, was one of them who was very, very sort of, not harsh, but he was very strict.
Yeah.
He just said, listen, you've got basic knowledge, but this knowledge is not
not enough. It's not what
we're required for doing this particular position.
Yeah.
Another guy was like, you know what, he can learn, but he was like, based on what you've written on a whiteboard, it's okay at best. Like, it's not perfect.
But you know what's funny though? You see, what I find interesting is that you're saying to me that, okay, what I've written on the whiteboard was basic, blah, blah, blah. But in the real work environment, man's just going to Google this anyway.
It is, but
like, come on.
They were. It's like the position. I think it was like an SQL admin or something like wasn't like an actual developer type position, but it's like an admin sort of position. And after that interview, after I left it, I was not expecting the test, so I felt as if
you wasn't prepared.
I wasn't prepared for it because I was thinking it was going to be like a normal interview where they ask you questions.
That's it.
And it actually made me think twice about getting into SQL, and eventually I didn't get into it.
Oh, because you thought that you might be getting tested.
Because I thought I wasn't, not because I was getting tested, I just thought I didn't have enough. Because based on the feedback I got from that interview, I thought, you know what, Rich, you're just not up to the skill set of what people are looking for right now. You haven't got any experience in it, and your knowledge is basic.
Yeah.
So if you're going to apply for 10 other roles similar to this one, it'll be the same thing. So I thought, okay, well, let me change my approach now. So I literally left SQL, in the past. And I think sometimes that's a bad thing. I'm not saying to, guys, this is a good thing. But, some interviews, depending on how they go, can make you think twice about your career and where you want to take it. For me, I think it was a good thing because it showed that maybe that wasn't the right path for me. And some interviews you get, some of them are good, some of them are bad, and some of them you just learn from.
That's how it goes, though, isn't it?
And I had another one as well, a couple of years ago. I think this was last year, actually.
Last year? What happened?
So a marketing position. As soon as I got in the interview room, the lady was ice cold. Like, after 2 minutes, I knew this was going to be a tough interview for me. Because some interviews, you go into them and you can have conversation. Yeah. It's not just about the job. You can have, Richard, how's your weekend? Oh, I did this. Oh, you did this. Oh, you like football. You like this. Yeah, you like personable. This woman had a straight face throughout the whole thing. I couldn't really bounce off of her at all. Explaining decisions or explaining some skills I had in my CV to her was a bit of a challenge because I think towards the end of the interview, she kind of like came out of her shell a bit. She kind of broke the ice that way. But for an interview, it was a very tough one. Not because the questions were hard, but I just felt as if, based on her face and her reaction, I just didn't really feel as if she was interested, to be honest. So,
and why do you think that is?
I think that might just be her. Some people in the workplace, some of them, maybe someone might have gone through a similar interview like that and got the job. Maybe it's just a person's
that's just
personality.
How they are.
Do you know what I mean? But I think my first impressions were, if I do get the job, having you as my line manager is not going to be.
It's not going to work.
Are you approachable? Can I talk to you about stuff? Do you know what I mean? And I think it's not just about doing the work.
So it's more like you, like, as much as they felt like they dodged the bullet, you dodged the bullet.
The thing is, at the end of the interview, I thought it went well. Because towards the end of it, because I spoke about my hobbies. I like to write articles. I like to do that. And she was finding some of it interesting as well. So I thought we broke the ice eventually. But I think the first couple of minutes, I just thought to myself, she's just not going to budge.
She's not going to budge. She's not having it.
So it was a bit of I think actually, again, I didn't get the role, obviously. And I think the industry wasn't good for me anyway. So it was like a construction recruitment sort of thing.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting because I remember interviewing a few people at my last company, and there was one fella who came in dressed so casual and he was late. Right. That's what I didn't get. Like, he was really late, like 20, 30 minutes late.
Yes.
And then when he came in, he wasn't dressed like he was coming for an interview. He was dressed like he worked here.
Right.
I was like, that ain't even right. So when you get already in my mind, I was like, yeah. You're off to a bad start, buddy. Like, you're like 5 points, 10 points down.
It's actually interesting because you've been in a position where you've been interviewed and you're interviewing.
Yeah.
So for you, what do you look for if you're interviewing someone? Are there like specific traits you look for in that person to consider them for that position?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, first off, like, your timekeeping. I want my reception team to have called me 10 minutes before your interview time to say, hey, so-and-so is here. All right, cool. Person's on time. I like that. You know what I mean? When I see you, I want to see that you're dressed like you're ready. You know what I mean? To take this. Not to be given it, but to take it.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you're here, you're game, you want it. And then when we get going, you know what I mean? I want to hear more about yourself than the skills you have to offer, because I'm of the mindset skills can be taught. You know what I mean? So it's not important, like, how much skills you've got. You know what I mean? If you've got the mindset to want to learn, and to be teachable, the skills will come. You know what I mean? 3-6 months into the job, you know what I mean, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
You know
I mean, I think we're both similar because I've had positions where I've had to interview interns to work under me at other companies. And I mean, have you had sort of like really bad interviews, interviewing people like really bad experiences?
No, I mean, there was just one guy who he was just overly cocky and stuff like that. Like, you know, it's just like, well, not interested anymore.
I mean, cocky is confidence, isn't it?
No, it's not, because there's a way of displaying your confidence to show that you're a confident person, and there's a way of displaying your confidence which makes you look cocky.
Cocky, right?
Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like one recruiter said to me that they loved, like when I was going for another job, they was like the interviewers loved how confident you was, because it didn't show that you was boasting or bragging about anything you've done.
Okay.
And so there's a way of showing that, oh, look, I am good at what I do and everything else, blah, 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 blah. But it's just the way you articulate it, which makes you seem like, you know what, it's not such a big deal, lads.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but I am good.
Good,
Whereas there's others where it's like, hey, guys, look at me. I'm the best in the world and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that's the person who probably, when they get the job, is absolutely trash.
Yeah. I think sometimes people get confused about going to impress people in interview.
Yeah.
But overdoing it as well.
Yeah,
because I think everyone knows when you apply for a job, you're not going to be perfect. You haven't got all the
you don't have everything.
skills. But as you said, you want them to be teachable. You want them to have the drive to learn stuff.
That's it.
Because sometimes people get in a job, and I've had the experience doing this. They've talked the good talk in the interview process. When it comes to actually sort of stepping up to play and doing stuff day to day, that can be an issue for them for some reason. And it's like, I know you want to impress me, I know you want to sort of, say all the good things I want to hear, but at the same time, if you've got flaws, if you've got weaknesses, that is good to let them know.
I want to hear that, you know what I mean? Because I was honest. I was like, in my interviews, I'm like, you know what, I'm not the best at actually reading over my work. You know what I mean? So like if I'm going to send an email, I just type send, and then it goes out, and then I realize, oh my gosh, there's loads of mistakes in there. You know what I mean? Like, and so I was honest with that. I was like, proofreading is a weakness of mine. You know what I mean? I don't really proofread.
True, so I'm like that as well, because I work in marketing, and marketing is very important for, like, especially when doing email marketing. You send that to thousands of people sometimes, and one little thing, people can call you up on it. Yeah. Like social media posts as well, they have to be good.
That's right.
Otherwise, you get trolls online who
they'll just use that.
Use that and just batter you every single time. So I said to people, look, when you're going to interview, it's not just about impressing. Yeah, go and impress them.
Of course.
But if you're honest with them, you can be teachable. People who work under, like managers, directors, etc., they're still learning every day about their positions.
Yeah.
You can never be perfect at anything, really. So I think sometimes people get intimidated in interviews and think, okay, if I say I'm weak at this, then automatically I've lost the job at that point.
I'm honest, man. I'd be like, if they say what my greatest weakness is that I'm too helpful. That's a fact.
I'm very
I'm
like that as
too helpful. That delays me in doing my job because I'm out here trying to help you get over your hurdle. You know what I mean? Like, and that sometimes ain't good because there's stuff I need to deliver to the business, but I'm out here helping someone else deliver to the business, which then means I might not deliver. You know what I mean? Issues like that. So,
it's about communication, isn't it?
That's right. So it's like, come on, guys. You know what I mean? Be honest. You know what I mean? But be a confident, honest person. You know what I mean?
I agree as well. I would definitely say advice as well is that, for me personally, I've always realized preparation. So
it's key, man.
Past work I've done at different companies, I've created a portfolio where I carry that with me to interviews to show work I've done in the past.
Yeah, 100%. I do the same now, and I don't even work in your line of work.
That's the thing. I think sometimes you have to. It's not just about saying I can do it. Display your skills.
Yeah, 100%. Because talk is cheap, man.
Yeah.
Show
the people.
Show and tell, man.
And luckily, some of the work I've done has pictures of myself in it.
Yeah, I see.
So
it's not fraudulent.
I've actually done that. Yeah, exactly. I've actually done that. And if you want references, again, go back to previous employees. They're happy to give me a reference on that. But again, just take stuff with you to sort of let the work speak for you.
Go for portfolio, man.
But sometimes, as you said, people turn up to interview with their hands in their pockets.
Yeah, you know what I mean. They just walk in there. Like, for me, I come to every interview with my CV. And not just
you print that CV.
Yeah, not just a copy for me, a copy for them as well. You know what I mean? And then I come in with my portfolio of stuff I've actually done, tangible stuff which I can bring from other companies I've worked for, and say, okay, boom. So when we're going through my CV and so you worked at this place, blah blah blah. I'm like, yep, here's a pack. Let's go through this pack. that will talk about all my skills and everything else is all in the pack. And then we just keep going like that. And it's like, boom, when I'm leaving, you guys can keep that.
Okay, so you actually give them a copy to keep.
Yeah, keep it. You know what I mean? And I go the extra mile sometimes is, I try to demonstrate, because I work in a technical environment. So it leaves room to actually demonstrate what you do. You know what I mean? So I might bring my laptop with me, be like, look, this is what I've been working on. This is just like my own private stuff. You know what I mean? Or this is what I've been doing in my spare time. Boom, boom, boom. I've got to be the guy you remember over whoever else you've been seeing today. You know what I mean? And one thing you will remember is the guy who showed and told, and not the guy who was just talking.
I think it's good to leave your copy of work with them. So
100%.
if they have to go back and discuss with colleagues, they can say, Francis came and he showed me A, B, and C. To show the previous guy came in and just said he can do it, whereas we've got proof.
We've got proof.
And this guy actually works in his spare time. On his own project, so that shows their drive and dedication.
That's right.
Work is not. I think obviously it depends on the job. But if you're going for a real
so Richard,
job,
what would you like to tell people which are going to go and interview? What's your last words?
I think, to be honest, just sort of prepare. I think prepare, be confident as well, and it's all experience. Interviews are, I guess, there's no perfect interview, I guess. I think that depends on your employer, because they're the ones interviewing you. They're going to be assessing you.
Yeah.
But I think from our point of view, it's all about experience. It's all about being prepared for it as well. And it's not the be-all, end-all of your career too, because I think we've all started at a place where we've given it past examples of jobs that maybe didn't really, or interviews that didn't go too well.
Yeah.
So it's all experience, and don't be afraid to sort of try different things.
100%.
If you've got an interview where it's panel based, or you've got interviews where tests are involved, if you don't necessarily ace those, it's not the end of the world. It's just there to sort of maybe to look at you and to sort of see how maybe you deal with certain things, I guess. And again, it's your chance to sort of quiz your employer, find out a bit more about the business, find out a bit more about your position as well. Because I think too often we tend to sort of go into jobs and be surprised at certain elements of it.
It's not what you told me.
It's not exactly, but maybe we're not asking the right questions. Your job doesn't say you've got to stay over hours sometimes. You're ready to go at 5 to 5 on a Friday. And
I see some people with their jackets and everything, like, whoop, ready to go.
Yeah, some people used, one of my jobs, people used to sort of literally do their coats up at 10 to 5.
Yeah, see, crazy.
Waiting for the countdown.
See, for me, I feel like that type of culture in the workplace, dead. I don't like that. It
shows that you just don't want to be there, isn't it?
Because you've already switched off before that time.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So for me, it's like, I feel like if the workplace is flexible with when you come and when you leave, you wouldn't have much of a problem if you had to stay later. Yeah. If you knew that you was going to be compensated for that whenever it is. I think, as
you said, it just shows that maybe you're switching off. Like, you're just waiting for that 5 o'clock to hit.
Literally.
But usually you have to work 2-5.
Yeah,
it's 9 to 5. So you're there before 9 o'clock,
and you're there
until 5 p.m. on the dot. But some people sort of mistake that and thinking, okay, I'm leaving office at 5. Well, your contract says 9 to 5. So if you want to get paid, you stay.
Read the clause, mate.
Literally, yeah. So look, just have a good attitude in your interviews. Quiz them as well. Be confident. It's all about the experience. And just take any feedback. Some feedback you get sometimes from recruiters or the employers, not always what you want to hear.
Of course.
But it's there to build you up, and it's there to sort of, help you in your future interviews. So take all feedback on board, whether it's good or bad. Just use every part of your career as an experience. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Nah, man. I think you've said it all.
Yeah.
I think, as you do. Yeah, I mean,
listen, guys. Yeah, it's been a good chat today.
Yeah, man. It's been good. It's been good. Yeah, I mean,
this is our workplace series. Episode 1 we've just done. So listen, episode 2, 3, and 4 is going to be coming to you very, very soon. So make sure you stay tuned.